Grease took the world by storm in 1978, turning John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, and the rest of the Pink Ladies and T-Birds into instant icons. Decades later, fans are still asking, where are they now in 2025? Some cast members continued dazzling audiences on the big screen or in music, while others took surprising turns, leaving Hollywood behind for completely unexpected paths. In this video, we'll dive into the latest updates, revealing shocking transformations, heartfelt stories, and career twists you never saw coming. Join us as we catch up with the legendary faces of Grease and see how life really unfolded after the spotlight faded. Olivia Newton-John was born on September 26, 1948 in Cambridge, England, and assumed the iconic role of Sandy Olsen in 1978 at age 29, delivering a performance that would not only define her career, but also embed her into the cultural fabric of a generation. Sandy's transformation from the sweet, naive Australian transfer student to a confident, leather-clad symbol of empowerment became a cinematic milestone, and Newton-John infused the character with a blend of charm, vulnerability, and subtle defiance that mirrored the contrasts in her own life. Her childhood was complicated by a fractured family and the pressures of early public scrutiny, forcing her to cultivate resilience and hide insecurities behind a perpetually sunny persona. As her career blossomed, she faced a series of setbacks and personal trials that painted a complex portrait behind the glamorous exterior. Her fashion brand, Koala Blue, went bankrupt during the economic downturn of the 1990s. A mysterious disappearance of her long-term partner, Patrick McDermott, in 2005 triggered rumors of faked death and financial deceit, and her daughter Chloe struggled with anorexia and addiction, casting a shadow over her personal life. Tragedy continued when a contractor died by suicide in her Florida home, leading to a haunting exorcism before the property could be sold, an incident that underscored the surreal intersection of fame, fortune, and misfortune in her life. Despite these dark chapters, Newton-John became an emblem of resilience, founding the Olivia Newton-John Cancer, Wellness and Research Center, advocating for cancer research and wellness, and maintaining her career through decades of public attention and private hardship. Her later years were defined by her long-term battle with breast cancer, which she ultimately lost on August 8, 2022, at age 73, leaving behind a net worth estimated at $60 million that included real estate royalties and intellectual property. Joan Blondell, born August 30, 1906 in New York City, stepped into the role of Vi in Grease 1978 at 72, embodying the sassy, world-weary waitress at the Frosty Palace. With decades of Hollywood experience that gave the character both gravitas and wit. Blondell's Vi was a woman who had seen love and lost joy and disappointment, and conveyed a bittersweet awareness of life that resonated with audiences. She was sharp-tongued, yet tender, grounding the exuberant teen energy around her. Blondell's early life was fraught with challenges, born into a financially unstable household. She witnessed her mother struggle to support the family, while her father was largely absent, leaving her to navigate the world with both resilience and an ingrained sense of self-reliance. She endured ridicule and teasing in school for her aspirations and intellect, learning to hide vulnerability behind charm and wit, a skill she carried into Hollywood, where studios often demanded women of strength to appear deferential. Her career began in vaudeville and Broadway, eventually blossoming into over 100 films, yet even success was peppered with setbacks, periods of low demand, disputes with producers, and the constant struggle to maintain relevance as the industry shifted. Off-screen, she experienced a tumultuous personal life, including 3 marriages, complex romantic entanglements, and whispered conflicts on set with co-stars who challenged her assertiveness. She was known to push back against industry norms, earning a reputation as fiercely independent at a time when Hollywood often punished women for such traits. Blondell faced financial ups and downs, health struggles, including battles with chronic illness in her later years, and the challenge of aging in a profession obsessed with youth, yet she continued to work passionately. She died on December 25, 1979, at 73 from leukemia, leaving behind a net worth estimated at $1 million, a reflection not of a lack of achievement, but of a life fully committed to art resilience and navigating the darker undercurrents of Hollywood with wit, grit, and enduring charm. Sid Caesar, born September 8, 1922 in Yonkers, New York, took on the role of Coach Calhoun in Grease, 1978 at 56, infusing the bumbling over-the-top gym teacher with manic physicality and a mastery of timing drawn from decades of experience in live television comedy, including his groundbreaking work on Your Show of Shows. Coach Calhoun was lovable chaos, incarnate inept, yet endearing, exuding both authority and clueless humor, a role that allowed Caesar to channel his frenetic energy while translating early television's immediacy to a cinematic audience. Caesar's childhood was far from idyllic. He was born into a lower-middle-class family, where expectations were high and resources scarce, creating a tension that he channeled into performance from an early age. Behind the laughs, his life was plagued by addiction and personal struggles. Alcoholism and barbiturate dependency in the 1960s nearly derailed a career that had made him a household name, and he endured the constant stress of live television's exacting demands, alongside personal tragedy, including familial tensions and periods of deep depression. Caesar's relationships were complex, including marriages strained by his career's intensity, and he was candid about the personal cost of fame and the pressure to perform relentlessly. Professionally, he faced a shifting industry that threatened the relevance of his comedic style as television evolved, forcing him to reinvent himself repeatedly. Despite these adversities, he maintained an enduring presence in comedy, mentoring younger performers and preserving his legacy as a pioneer of the medium. He died on February 12, 2014, at 91, leaving behind a net worth of approximately $10 million, reflective not only of decades of work and innovation, but also of a life of personal struggle, resilience, and the enduring ability to convert chaos into artistry that continues to inspire the comedic landscape. Ed Burns, born July 30, 1932 in New York City, assumed the role of Vince Fontaine in Grease, 1978, at 46, portraying the slick, fast-talking television dance host whose charm and flirtatious swagger parodied both 1950s showbiz and Burns' own early teen idol persona as Kooky on 77's Sunset Strip. Fontaine was a caricature of vanity and superficial charisma, and Burns performed it with a wink and an awareness of his own celebrity history, creating a character simultaneously amusing and slightly sleazy. Burns' early life was defined by instability. He navigated his father's early death, a difficult relationship with his stepfather, and a childhood where adaptability was essential. His career, while spectacularly meteoric during the Kooky era, became a struggle against typecasting and the pressure of teen idol expectations. Burns clashed with studio executives, including intense disputes with Warner Brothers. At one point, buying out his contract to escape being trapped in a persona he no longer identified with, demonstrating both courage and risk-taking, but also exposing him to financial and professional vulnerability. On set, he was known to be difficult, prone to confrontations, and occasionally manipulative toward colleagues, adding to a reputation for volatility that extended into his personal life, where marriages and romantic relationships were often tumultuous, and tabloid speculation ran rife with rumors of affairs and feuds. Burns's career experienced peaks and valleys with periods of irrelevance, followed by attempts to reclaim his fame, reflecting the harsh realities of Hollywood's obsession with youth and typecasting. Despite these pressures, he remained active in entertainment and charitable endeavors, navigating his personal demons with a mix of bravado and private reflection. He died on January 8, 2020, at 87, of natural causes, leaving a net worth of $1.6 million, representing a career that burned intensely, often chaotically, leaving a mark on television and film history that combined charm, defiance, and resilience against the fickle machinery of fame. Dodie Goodman was born on October 28, 1914, and played Blanche Hodel in 1978 at age 63. Blanche is the incandescently ditzy office presence whose high-pitched, fluttering deliveries make the school office feel like a small carnival. Goodman made the role a concentrated bit of chaos, one of those comic sparks that keeps a scene alive, even when plot wheels grind on. Her childhood in early 20th century Ohio was far from glamorous formative years, marked by economic leanings and a personality sharpened to survive the everyday cruelties of schoolyard ridicule and social expectation, which she turned into a public persona that amplified oddness into charm. Career-wise, she was a late-blooming celebrity of the quirky circuit, vaudeville-adjacent roots stage work, and a notable turn as a recurring, unforgettable presence on late-night television where stories persist that she was once let go for upstaging a host. A petty Hollywood legend that both amused and haunted her reputation, Goodman's professional life had its lurches, intermittent periods of invisibility, the merciless typecasting of voices in animation and bit parts, and the quiet bitterness actors feel when talent meets limited opportunity. Her personal life was famously private and a little turbulent. Brief marriages and romantic misfires, a penchant for eccentricity that at times isolated her, and the actor's perpetual juggling of financial insecurity and the hunger for applause. As age crept up, she retreated to quieter living and the camaraderie of fellow character actors. Dodie Goodman died on June 22, 2008, at age 93 of natural causes in New York City, leaving behind a modest estate, small real estate holdings, royalties from years of work, and an estimated net worth in the low millions, the sort of fiscal afterlife typical of long-serving character actors who earned affection more than fortune. Alice Ghostley was born on August 14, 1923, and played Mrs. Murdoch in 1978 at age 55. On screen, Mrs. Murdoch is the eccentric, wonderfully distracted shop teacher whose oddball mannerisms and gentle obliviousness briefly steal scenes from the teenager's melodrama. Ghostley gave that role a soft, surreal tang that made audiences smile and then wonder what private sadness hid behind the comic delivery. She grew up in a humbler Midwestern household where artistic impulses rubbed against economic strain. Childhood memories she rarely spoke about suggest a girl who learned to turn timidity into a peculiar kind of stage armor, hiding deeper hurts behind a wry, slightly offbeat persona. Her professional arc was the steady journeyman kind. Decades of stage and screen character work, a reputation for impeccable comic timing, and a life in show business that never quite courted tabloid heat. The scandals were more theatrical than salacious. The occasional sharp remark or backstage quarrel, rather than anything headline-grabbing. Yet the quieter truths were tougher, a marriage that eventually receded into privacy, the loneliness of a career built on bit parts, and the wear of performing into old age. She weathered health struggles in later years, and those who worked with her remembered both a tender generosity and an iron will, the odd combination that makes small-screen favorites linger in memory. Alice Ghostley died on September 21, 2007, at age 84 from complications related to colon cancer and strokes in Studio City, California. Her estate was modest, composed largely of lifelong residuals, a small home wardrobe and theater memorabilia, and an estimated net worth roughly around $1 million, the kind of tidy, unobtrusive sum that reflects a life of steady craft rather than blockbuster wealth, a legacy more emotional than fiscal, leaving behind characters people loved and a reputation for being reliably, unmistakably herself. Jeff Conaway was born on October 5, 1950 in Manhattan, New York, and portrayed Kenickie in Grease in 1978, at age 27 embodying the slick-haired rebellious T-Bird, whose confidence and charm concealed deep-seated vulnerabilities. Kenickie's charisma, toughness, and loyalty to his friends reflected Conaway's own complex persona, shaped by a childhood shadowed with trauma abuse and neglect that left lasting emotional scars. His career, though initially promising, was repeatedly derailed by personal demons. After rising to fame on the TV show Taxi, he lost his role due to escalating substance abuse, leading to multiple stints in rehab, and public exposure of his struggles on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew, where he candidly revealed a lifetime of molestation, suicidal ideation, and the spiraling effects of addiction. His personal life mirrored the volatility of his professional existence. A failed marriage to Olivia Newton-John, exasperated by infidelity, rumors and disagreements over finances compounded the instability, while a severe back injury during the filming of Greased Lightning exacerbated his reliance on painkillers. Conaway's life was further punctuated by arrests for DUI confrontations on set, and a reputation as a difficult co-worker whose mood swings and volatility could derail productions, leaving collaborators frustrated and strained. Despite sporadic career revivals, including guest appearances and theater work, his later years were consumed by the struggle to reclaim normalcy, a battle tragically cut short when he died on May 27, 2011 at age 60, from pneumonia and sepsis complications exacerbated by decades of substance abuse. His estate, modest at $250,000, underscored the stark disparity between his brief moments of fame and the financial instability that marked much of his adult life. Conaway's story remains a vivid, cautionary tale of talent, shadowed by unresolved trauma and addiction, a life of public adulation and private anguish, and a legacy defined as much by the vulnerability behind his bravado as by the memorable energy he brought to the screen. Stockard Channing was born on February 13, 1944, and portrayed the unforgettable Betty Rizzo in Grease in 1978. At age 34, the tough, sardonic Pink Lady, whose sharp wit masked vulnerability and deep emotional scars. Rizzo's combination of audacity, sarcasm, and hidden fragility resonated with audiences, making her one of the most memorable characters of the film and a template for strong, complex female roles in teen cinema. Channing herself endured a complicated and sometimes difficult upbringing in New York City, growing up in a family fractured by divorce, where emotional needs were often unmet, and social pressures forced her to conceal vulnerability behind intelligence and poise. This early exposure to personal instability may have influenced both her nuanced performances and her unflinching approach to professional challenges. Her career has been marked by a combination of extraordinary artistic achievements and behind-the-scenes struggles, repeated typecasting disagreements with directors, and high-profile theatrical flops forced her to fight for creative respect and visibility. Off-screen, Channing's personal life has been layered with complexity and occasional turbulence. She experienced 4 marriages and divorces, navigated long-term relationships, such as the decades-long partnership with cinematographer Dan Gillum, and grappled with the public perception of her private choices. She has described herself as a terrible celebrity, eschewing parties and public fanfare which only enhanced the aura of enigma around her. Professional disappointments, such as poorly received Broadway revivals or the early closure of ambitious projects, punctuated her career, yet she repeatedly demonstrated resilience and adaptability. Today, at 81 years old in 2025, she continues to maintain a presence in theater, television, and film, with a net worth estimated at $15 million, drawn from decades of carefully managed stage and screen roles, royalties, and smart investments. John Travolta was born on February 18, 1954, and played Danny Zuko in 1978 at age 24. Danny is the greased lightning of teen rebellion, swaggering, romantic, and magnetic. And Travolta's performance turned that archetype into an international phenomenon. Audiences bought the cool, the vulnerability, the soft center behind the tough guy collar. And the film made him a living symbol of late 70s pop culture. Travolta's early years in Englewood, New Jersey, the youngest of several children in a working-class family, were shaped by a mix of theatrical training and small-town scrape, a kid who learned to perform, to be seen, to turn ridicule into discipline, and to use movement and rhythm as a personal survival kit. Professionally, his arc glittered, and then shuddered meteoric rise with Saturday Night Fever and Grease, a slide, through less regarded projects in the 1980s, and a dramatic revival in the 1990s with Pulp Fiction that recast him as a versatile, serious actor. Along the way, he became a pilot, a businessman, and a name that could still open doors. The darker chapters are both public and private, a decades-long association with Scientology that has drawn relentless scrutiny and rumor. The wrenching personal tragedies of losing his son Jet in 2009 while on vacation in the Bahamas, and his wife, Kelly Preston, to breast cancer in 2020. And the persistent glare that comes with fame, lawsuits, and tabloid conjecture brushed his life at intervals, but never derailed his capacity to work. He has had well-publicized relationships, legal spats, and PR storms, but also major comebacks and loyal fans. Travolta remains a pilot and collector of aircraft, owns several properties and valuable memorabilia from his career, and has diversified income from film residuals, endorsements, and aviation ventures. As of now, he is alive at age 71, dividing his time between family responsibilities, quieter life phases, and selective projects. His net worth is commonly estimated in the hundreds of millions, often cited around $260 million, a complex financial picture made up of real estate, expensive personal aircraft royalties, and the intangible but powerful currency of a Hollywood icon's name. Michael Tucci was born on April 15, 1946, and played Sonny Lettieri in Grease in 1978 at age 32, embodying the loud, cocky, and scheming T-Bird, whose Brooklyn swagger and flirtatious antics brought energy, humor, and a sense of mischievous realism to the film. Sonny's irreverence and charm made him a standout secondary character, memorable for his brash humor and comic timing that balanced the ensemble, earning Tucci both audience admiration and professional credibility. Tucci's own life reflects a blend of discipline and versatility. He pursued higher education, attending law school, and gaining credentials that would allow him to teach all while navigating the unpredictable demands of Hollywood. His career after Grease included steady television and film work, notably in Diagnosis Murder and The Heat, along with sustained engagement in theater, demonstrating adaptability and long-term commitment to craft, rather than chasing ephemeral fame. Professionally, Tucci faced the challenges of typecasting competition for high-profile roles and the inherent instability of acting work, which he mitigated through a parallel career in education as a high school teacher, fostering the next generation while maintaining financial and personal stability. his personal life has been relatively private. Married to Kathleen Tucci since the 1980s, with 2 daughters, he has managed to balance family responsibilities with professional commitments, avoiding scandals, public disputes, or personal controversies that often accompany Hollywood success. Tucci's disciplined approach to career and life reflects his awareness of the pressures and pitfalls of fame, prioritizing longevity and ethical consistency over sensationalism. Today, at 79 years old in 2025, he continues to work in theater and selective screen projects, with a net worth estimated at $3 million accumulated through decades of acting teaching and careful management of royalties and residuals. Didi Khan, born July 13, 1951, took on the role of Frenchie in Grease at age 27, portraying the beauty school dropout with a heart of gold, whose dreamy optimism, high-pitched voice, and wide-eyed charm made her a standout in the ensemble, and a character whose innocence and loyalty endeared her to audiences. Frenchie's arc, full of personal misadventures in the pursuit of self-discovery and professional fulfillment, mirrored some of Khan's own experiences in early Hollywood, where she navigated typecasting and small roles before her breakout in Grease. Khan's childhood in Brooklyn was marked by intellectual stimulation from her father, a clinical psychologist, but also by moments of social alienation, feeling different among peers due to her precociousness and artistic inclinations, cultivating a sense of empathy and advocacy that would later define her adult life. Her career had its share of hurdles, audition rejections, the fickleness of television casting, and the challenges of being taken seriously as a performer with a bubbly public persona. Yet she persevered, turning these setbacks into a sustained career in television and film. Beyond the screen, Khan faced profound personal challenges, most notably her son's autism diagnosis, which galvanized her into activism and shaped much of her personal and professional focus, turning what could have been private anguish into a public platform for awareness and advocacy. She married composer David Shire in 1982, but even within this seemingly stable partnership, the pressures of Hollywood and public life required careful navigation to maintain familial bonds. At 74, Khan has remained largely scandal-free, but her life has not been devoid of struggle, balancing advocacy career demands and personal life while ensuring that her visibility does not eclipse her family. Her net worth, estimated at $5 million, comes from decades of acting convention appearances, and her advocacy work reflecting a career that has been as much about resilience and adaptability as it has been about celebrity, and she continues to leverage her platform for causes close to her heart, while maintaining active connections with fans and the industry. Barry Pearl was born on March 29, 1950, and played the charmingly awkward Duty the guitar-strumming T-Bird in Grease in 1978 at age 28, bringing comic relief innocence and a heartwarming naivety that softened the film's romantic and dramatic tensions. Duty's earnest attempts to impress and emulate Elvis Presley endeared him to audiences, creating a character whose appeal relied on both humor and vulnerability. Pearl grew up in modest circumstances, facing financial limitations, social expectations, and the pressures of standing out in a competitive environment, experiences that informed his empathetic approach to performance and his dedication to connecting with young audiences. His career has been long and multifaceted, encompassing theater, television, and children's entertainment, with notable success as Professor Tinkerput in Barney. Yet he also faced industry obstacles, typecasting periods of limited visibility, and the frustrations of roles that never fully captured his talents. Pearl's personal life included 3 marriages, and the challenge of balancing family life with a demanding performance schedule, travel, and public appearances, all while maintaining his private stability. Beyond performance, he devoted himself to charitable work, particularly through Joey Travolta's inclusion films, focusing on opportunities for special needs, children revealing a dimension of character and commitment often absent in celebrity culture. Despite occasional professional setbacks, Pearl managed to avoid scandal, maintaining a clean public image throughout decades in the entertainment industry. At 75 years old in 2025, he continues working selectively in theater, educational entertainment, and mentorship projects, with a net worth estimated at $1.5 million derived from steady long-term contributions to performance media residencies and philanthropic endeavors. Jamie Donnelly, born May 8, 1947, embodied Jan the Braces-wearing, Twinkie-loving Pink Lady in Grease at age 31, bringing warmth, relatability, and a sense of authenticity to a character defined by awkward charm and exuberance. Jan's persona as the sweet, somewhat nerdy friend allowed audiences to see themselves reflected on screen in the midst of more flamboyant personalities, and Donnelly's portrayal was informed by her own early life experiences in Teaneck, New Jersey, where she faced moments of ridicule for her intelligence and her unconventional interests, learning early to hide vulnerabilities behind humor and enthusiasm. Donnelly's career path has been shaped by both perseverance and adaptation. After starring in the Broadway version of Grease, she became the only cast member to reprise her role on screen, a testament to her talent and dedication. Yet she faced the harsh realities of Hollywood, where fame was fleeting, roles were limited, and age often dictated opportunity. While Donnelly has avoided major scandals, the professional pressures of typecasting brief career lulls and navigating an industry with limited roles for women of her age created personal and emotional challenges requiring a sustained commitment to craft and a pivot toward mentorship. Her personal life, though largely private, reflects a balance of stability and quiet struggle. She married novelist Stephen Foreman, built a family, and chose to live away from the limelight, emphasizing coaching and teaching over chasing further fame. At 78, Donnelly's estimated net worth is $1.5 million, accumulated through acting residuals from Grease and her ongoing work as an acting coach, illustrating a life built on steady, meaningful contribution to the arts rather than sensational headlines, with assets including real estate in California and the intangible wealth of legacy and influence over new generations of performers. Eve Arden was born on April 30, 1908, in Mill Valley, California, and took on the role of Principal McGee in Grease in 1978 at age 70, bringing a razor-sharp, dry-witted authority to Rydell High that balanced humor with unflinching discipline. Principal McGee's sardonic, exasperated demeanor resonated with audiences as a stabilizing force amid the chaos of teenage rebellion, and Arden imbued the character with decades of stage and screen experience, making every glance, inflection, and line delivery carry weight beyond the script. Arden's childhood was marked by financial hardship and early immersion in performance, forcing her to cultivate independence, resilience, and a sharp wit to navigate a world that often undervalued women in entertainment. Her career, spanning 6 decades from radio and noir films to Emmy-winning television roles, was punctuated by triumphs as well as discreetly handled scandals. Rumored affairs, including one with Danny Kaye, and the pressures of Hollywood friendships and rivalries shaped her professional choices, though she maintained a disciplined public image. Arden's personal life included the balancing act of raising 4 children with her husband, Brooks West, managing domestic responsibilities while maintaining a demanding and successful career, a feat that often involved private sacrifices and negotiations behind the scenes. She endured health challenges and the slow transformations of an evolving entertainment industry, yet her professionalism and sharp humor ensured she remained in demand into her later years. Eve Arden passed away on November 12, 1990, at age 82 from cardiac arrest and arteriosclerotic heart disease, leaving behind an estate that was never publicly quantified, but a legacy enshrined in the craft of American comedy. Her influence persists in the generations of actors and comedians who drew inspiration from her, timing her authority on screen and her ability to blend resilience with wit, creating a life and career that, while marked by private complexity and occasional scandal, remains a testament to enduring talent, sharp intellect, and the nuanced interplay between personal struggle and professional brilliance. Kelly Ward, born November 17, 1956, portrayed Pootsie in the 1978 film Grease at age 21, a character written as the youngest and most endearing of the T-Birds, often naive and slightly dim, but with unwavering loyalty to his friends. Ward's childhood was steeped in performance arts, born to parents deeply involved in theater, but his early years were far from idyllic moving. Frequently, he struggled with self-confidence and often felt overshadowed by his older brother Kirby, who pursued the arts with more apparent ease. The experience of being ridiculed and underestimated cultivated in Ward a quiet resilience, but also a tendency to mask his vulnerabilities with humor and diligence. Professionally, Ward's trajectory was unconventional. After his early work on The Boy in the Plastic Bubble and Grease, he encountered the common pitfalls of young Hollywood actors, periods of unemployment, minor roles that didn't pay, and the challenge of being typecast as the funny friend. He made the critical decision to pivot from on-screen acting to voice directing, carving a niche in animation that would eventually make him a significant behind-the-scenes figure, directing shows such as Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Jake and the Neverland Pirates, a career shift fueled by both necessity and talent, but also by the unglamorous realization that Hollywood is unforgiving to actors who peak too young. Despite his success in directing and teaching musical theater at USC, Ward has maintained a low-profile personal life, avoiding the typical scandals that often accompany prolonged careers in the entertainment industry. But this doesn't negate the quiet pressures of balancing professional reinvention with personal ambitions, nor the moments of doubt that he has described in interviews as haunting the what-if scenarios of his early acting years. At 68, Ward's net worth, estimated at around $2 million, reflects decades of consistent, if behind-the-scenes work in Hollywood. He has acquired assets including property investments in Los Angeles, and royalties from animated series securing a comfortable but understated financial standing that contrasts sharply with the fleeting fame of his early film career. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Grease and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.